Hello there, people. How we doing? Right, so let me sort this out first. Right. How are we all doing? Just before I get into this, if anybody's going to want to have any kind of conversation or add anything to what I'm about to discuss, you need to send an email to the above email address and I will send you a link. Again, I'm not interested in any trolls, any antagonistic behaviour. I can't be bothered with it. As we seen yesterday, for anybody who doesn't know, I'm about to show this character. Yesterday I was really annoyed that this guy is used to telling barefaced lies and misrepresenting. People can do whatever they like, but when you start telling barefaced lies about people, I've got a serious problem with that. Now, subsequently to that, this character who is favoured by YouTube, supported by whoever, gets promoted in the search engines. Even if you type in Beyond the Imaginary Curve, this character's videos is going to come up first. So this guy gets to promote all sorts of nonsense, lie, misrepresent, spew pseudoscience and utter ridiculous crap, be promoted by YouTube and favoured, and then when somebody like me calls him out and tells him exactly what I think of him, he runs away to teacher and tells on teacher that the big bad man is calling him names and whatever, and YouTube subsequently from that removed instantly. As soon as the stop button was hit, the video from yesterday was gone. No email, no warning, nothing. So, these characters, I'm going to show people, the types of characters that these people are. So first and foremost, if you're new to any of this and you're trying to understand what's going on, you have to take things really slowly, and take it in increments. First of all, you're a human being with the same faculties that I have. You're a conscious entity. You're operating the machine that is known as the body. You have the same, apparatus, that being the senses, that I do. And that is where your first port of call has to be before any man-made language or any conceptual structures are put on top of that. You remove language altogether. First and foremost, as human beings, we are sharing a reality that we can refer to as the objective world, that doesn't require you or I, belief or wishes or any of these types of things. It exists purely as it is, without you having to put your volition to it, without you controlling it in any way, shape or form. It is what it is. So that reality that we share has, practical functions to it. It's made up of certain substances and there's certain behaviours that go on in regards to certain substances. As human beings, we can demonstrate things to each other. I can show you various aspects of your reality or what I have found about my reality, and I can share it with you in a practical reference. So I can take a particular substance, I can show you its behaviour, I can ask you to check that substance and check its behaviour, and then you can affirm that, or you can rebut it by your practical reference. That's the be all and end all of this whole topic. The rest of it's just language, concepts, sophistry, propaganda, manipulation, lies, all the traits of, desperately insecure, manipulative, needy, cult-like mentality. So, you have to ignore all that. You have to realise that you are the scientist. This terminology of words, using words like science and scientists, they're used and have been put to you like it's something external from you, something that you're not a part of. Like scientists are some group of men or women who exist in some other plane of existence that know things that you don't know. There is avenues of expertise that you can go down in regards to man-made technologies that you can have a deeper understanding of. But at the very same time, those advancements and those practical things that I'm talking about are just that. They're practical, they're mechanical in nature, there's a function to them. You know, one part playing a role in another part, and so on, to make machines, to make, you know, other technological advancements. These are avenues of specifics that you can go down. So there is people who have a more in-depth experience of particular avenues, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the natural world, and I always use natural loosely for various reasons, but I'm not going to get into that right now. So when we're talking about this, we're talking about the natural world. No language, no man-made technologies, none of that. Remove the language. What it is, do you think you know? Make your claim, and then show me by way of practicality. You just have to understand that the language and your association to certain words puts you in a mindset, it puts you in an emotional and psychological state and position. Now, as a child, you were born into a hierarchical structure. That hierarchical structure has imposed onto you, you know, a format of hierarchy. That you're here, and there's this level, and there's this level, and there's this level, and this level. Okay? That was done with an authoritative tone. They use, you know, certain aspects that are regarded as NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. So, you know, tonality, you know, facial expressions, body language, use of language. What they do is they teach you language. You learn words, and then you learn associations to words. And they create pictures, as I say, and they put you in a certain position. You have a relationship to these words. You start relating yourself to the rest of the world in regards to this language and the concepts and the images that have been presented to you. So you have to understand that, and there's a bit of work that you have to do internally in order to, you know, resolve some of the fluff that you've probably got going on in your system. Because it comes right down to this, you know, you have to be a direct realist, what I would call a direct realist, or just a realist and a skeptic. Someone who, you know, understands what they actually know and what they don't know. Now, hearsay, appealing to authority telling you and dictating to you what things are and what things are not, and all this, you know, type of fallacious reasoning is exactly the problem that people are encountering. And that's what they're being, you know, swept up by. You know, this whole thing as a cult, it incorporates techniques like hypnotism, where they continually repeat images and mantras, buzzwords and phrases over and over and over again. They create a hierarchical structure with idols and priestly-like figures who have a certain use of language and a certain demeanour about them that all has an effect on the gullible. So if you don't want to be a gullible, you really need to snap out of this and start taking responsibility for yourself. Again, you are the scientist. It's not an institution. It's not an authority. It's not a Tinterweb celebrity. It's up to you. You have to understand what constitutes practical, demonstrable reality. Words, equations, you know, NLP tactics. None of that stuff is what I'm talking about. Interpretations of unseen things and things you do not know about. The majority of what you call science is only observing effects. It has no clue what energy is or any of these types of things. They're all conceptual. They've spun you a narrative of the macro being space balls in a void. And then it cascades down to the micro of mini space balls within empty void space. It's an idiotic insult to your intelligence. It's not an insult to your intelligence right now if you still believe you're a hairless monkey on the exterior of a sphere flying through an infinite vacuum. It's not an insult to your intelligence because you don't have any intelligence yet. You don't have the ability to address what's been put to you and go through it with a fine tooth comb in order to see what actually stands up and what does not. And when you get through that process and you start to remove the imposed hypnotic trance state done by authoritative approaches, use of NLP, language, you start to realise that it's all a crock of shit. Now, what happens to you when you get to this position is I can only account for my experience, is this cult, this maniac, lunatic, psychotic cult does not like anybody that points out their nonsense and goes against and starts to question what's been put to them. I've had to endure all sorts of nonsense right up to this present day. Right now in the chat box, you've got people titling themselves as children coming against the wall, children cum guzzlers and all this stuff. These are all people that are in cahoots with guys like Baldy Cats, Conspiracy Cats, Simon Dan. These are the types of minds and accounts that are running amok on YouTube that are being protected and held up. Why? If it's just honest, sceptical people questioning the validity of claims about their objective reality, and the people that are professing these claims and standing by these claims think that it's actually objectively true, why would they have any necessity to incorporate the use of propaganda, slander, misrepresentation, intimidation? There'd be absolutely no need for it whatsoever. If I look outside and I see the grass is green, and somebody wants to go about believing that it's purple, that's up to them. That's no threat to me. What you're witnessing here is insecurity. What you get is a backlash of deep-rooted insecurity from this cult and its lunatic disciples. Make no bones about it. Look at their walk, look at their behaviour. They are not stepping up to the mark to have honest discourse. They are not stepping up to the mark to practically demonstrate any of their ridiculous, absurd claims and notions. Because they can't. It's no reality. If it was reality, they would be able to achieve that, but they don't. The only thing you're ever going to get from them is words. Sitting, trying to take the upper hand of an authoritative approach by using bamboozling language as if it means something, and sitting there or being there all smug and pompous like they think they're something. It's a serious display of narcissistic tendencies, spawned by deep-rooted insecurity and a need to control others. The globe heliocentric model is not a representation of skeptics inquiring about their objective reality. It's a mathematical concept, an existential narrative pushed onto the people as a mechanism of control. It's a psychological tool. It bewilders you, disorientates you, puts you in a place of low self-esteem, so that you're malleable and that you will buy into any idiotic idea or concept that they present to you as a life. It's the perfect tool to disorientate you, placing you in an infinite void, on a delicate little sphere with no way on or off, with nonsensical jargon, explanatory physics that are in no way, shape or form related to anything in your practical, everyday lived life. You just have to start to understand how to recognise it. The people like me have been doing that for 5 years now. And as I say, it's been a consistent attack and onslaught from needy, insecure cult zealots, desperately trying to maintain this agenda. There's so many people and groups with investments in it that are milking money and human resources, time, effort, energy to absolute hogwash. As I say, that is only there to keep you in a bewildered state. So, being on that little potato rock, there's no way off. Right there and then, it's confusing. You're cut off. Your natural constitution that wants to explore, that wants to keep finding out more, the inquisitive nature that is within you is now stunted. Because what's being presented to you is that men before have discovered everything, including the workings of the universe. Seen and unseen. And then they promote priestly figures of mathematics, which is just a language, which is why it's classed as a formal science. It's not arithmetic. It's a manipulator's tool. They promoted and prompted these people to be idols that bamboozle you with language, symbols, gobbledygook, and insist to you that they've got a fix on it. They understand what's going on. You don't need to worry. Just you accept your slavery. Just you accept this nonsense fucking idiotic system that you're within. Grab a concept and an idea, a self-identity. Invest your emotions in it wholeheartedly and call it a life. You do not know where you are. You do not know why you are here, all the reasons for your being here. Without the answers to those points, anything that you're partaking in and calling a life is purely mental illness, serious, dysfunctional delusion. I know that you might be getting a wee buzz out of certain aspects of the concept or the idea you've bought into, but it's still delusional. So it's hugely significant, this. This is why there is such an onslaught to try and, slate and slander people like myself. So as I say, what you have to focus in on is the aspects that are showing you it's insecure. It is a lie. Because if something's the truth and it's meant to be objective and represented by objective inquiry, we don't need bands of insecure, pedo-like figures trying to defend it, while at the same time chastising, slandering decent, upstanding, good people with honesty and integrity. Because these people don't have any of those traits. They are willfully lying, and some of these characters I'm about to show you are willfully lying, deceptive, dangerous. So, this Baldy Cats, Conspiracy Cats guy, whoever he may be, made a video misrepresenting. From that, I've had an onslaught of his band of cult minions spewing utter drivel. So we'll have a wee laugh at some of their fucking absolute nonsense. Right. So, just to highlight some of the use. In fact, let me come to this first and I'll say hello to everybody. And then we'll get to some of the aspects that I can point at and show you, what they're up to. Okay, because it's manipulation, it's lies, so it has to incorporate certain tools, it has to use propaganda, barefaced lies, misrepresentation, neurolinguistic programming, any sort of hypnotic tool that they can use, they're going to incorporate it. Because that's the whole sole purpose, is to perpetuate the lie. It's not to display integrity and honesty and objective inquiry. So again, you'll need to send an email to the above if you want to come in and have any sort of discussion about any aspect of this. So before I get there, how we all doing? West Coast Wisdom, Flat Accord Music, how yous? P900 Cool Picks. Nice wee hangout you done, P900 Cool Picks with Des. Enjoyed some of that. Really sad, especially when you see him playing the guitar and the life that was there. But for me, there's no need for everybody to get down and sad about this. You come to certain realizations that your life may be finite, but the bigger picture, you're part of something infinite. There's much more to this than what we can understand right now. And people's relationships to death is always quite a droll, dreary, negative type relationship, and I don't have that. So I don't go for the whole mournful, woe's me and tears and all that kind of stuff. I suspend that. I don't waste any of my energy on it because there's questions unanswered. At the same time, we still miss people and we see a bit of the sadness that they're no longer there. But all that does is make you appreciate your time in the now, and appreciate the other people that are run about you, those that you have value with. It just puts things in perspective a wee bit for you. So there's lessons there that people should take note of. But the woe's me, dreary, droll, concepts and ideas of death really have to be removed. Again, for me, they're another symptom of this cult nonsense that spews, existential storylines about our existence and how fucking pathetic and sad it all is, and it's just idiotic. You're part of something immense here. You're part of a grand design. Right? We don't know what it's about and who, why, what. Right? But you can deduce and break things apart to realise that you're part of something infinite and eternal. There's no avenue you can go that you're ever going to discover some finite. Finite cannot exist. Like that. Something finite has to be taking place within a certain area or space or something. So you're always back at square one again. There's absolutely no way. Many philosophers and people through the ages realise this, but they avoid it, which is why we have so much literature on religions and philosophies and spirituality and all this fucking jargon and gobbledygook. Again, more symptoms of the bewilderment that human beings are in. Human beings seem to have an aversion to being able to say, well, I don't know. As if you're not allowed to be in a position of don't know. Because again, this is part of the cult. It's filled you with hubris and pomposity. Because they're telling you they figured the whole universe out and the workings of it and all this stuff. They don't have a fucking clue. Not even close to understanding or knowing the mechanisms behind this reality. Don't have a cunt's clue. Just all guesswork, concepts, imagination. So don't let them fool you. But again, that's part of it. This hierarchy and this air of authority and pseudo-intellects and academia and all this stuff. That you go into the literatures and you think, oh, I'm going to find answers, and it's so windswept and wordsy. How am I going to understand? They're just clutching at straws. Nobody knows. You're within the realm. You're part of the effects. Unless you're some sort of superhuman with superhuman powers to shift into other dimensions, you're never going to know what this full reality is, the full objectivity of this reality, because you're part of it. These cockends know that. So what they've done is they've stifled your inquiry, your excitement and your passion to discover something new. Because people are no longer interested in the marvel of this technology and its workings. They've been told it's all figured out. So here's a fucking iPad. Stick your face in that and we'll tell you what you think. Entertain yourself to fucking death, you hairless monkey. They've not got a clue. Quantum fluxes and a quantum vacuum, quantum particles and neons and fucking quarks and crackpots. But again, it's deliberate. Human beings don't need stories. You don't need an existential story to attach yourself to. You never required it as a child. You embraced every aspect of the spectrum that was within you. You never worried about yesterday or tomorrow, or needed a story of your existence. You had all the attributes. You have your senses, your faculties. What you need to do is start exploring again. And that's exactly what they've stifled. Your willingness to explore. And they've substituted it. They've gave you a dummy tit. A baby's dummy tit. of outer space and Star Wars and planetoids. Fantasy that doesn't exist and that you're never going to be able to achieve or get to. So you suspend that and throw yourself into imagination land and think that it's knowledge and truth and you're a part of it. It's no. It's a fucking dummy tip to stop you and I from going lateral and exploring the confines or the full dimensions of where we actually are. So anywho, let me see here. What did I have up here? Just certain aspects. Now let me just find my way in here. So here's an example. This is the type of thing I'm talking about. This guy, Conspiracy Cats, or Baldy Cats, whatever you want to call him, he's got a real habit of sitting with a whiteboard and drawing equations. Now, equations are just concepts. It's mathematics. It doesn't mean anything. It means absolutely diddly squat. And at the same time he does that, he tries to poo-poo and ridicule people who are offering up real practicality. You know, I use sarcasm a lot. In the very first video, I poured water onto a football to, you know, display that, you know, it's pretty obvious the physicality of that substance known as water is well understood. If I want to level anything, I use water. I can create a level, and level in real reality means no deviation in elevation from the beginning point to your end point. Everybody out there knows this. You know, I can make a canal starting from my first point and construct level or dig level from that point, and I can do it over an expanse of, say, 10 miles if you like. Now once I've achieved that, I can fill that with water. If I started with 5 brick high at this side on both sides of the wall and I ran that perfectly level for the 10 or 15 miles and I filled it with water, the water would show me any deviation from the level. I would see a slant, I would see a slope, the water would flow. At the same time, I can place 2 plumb lines at 90 degrees from that level and they will be perfectly plumb and level at 90 degrees from my starting point, my reference point. These are facts, these are real world, demonstrable facts. Now people like this only have again the tools of ridicule, manipulation, lies, deceit, insecurity, all the horrible traits. And they impose that onto your children because you don't take responsibility. You allow people like this guy to influence them. I think that's a fucking tragedy. People like this guy should be locked up. They shouldn't be allowed anywhere near children. Because people like this guy know that they're telling lies, but they don't care. He will go and take that salary and spew garbage at your children. Is psychological and emotional abuse any different from physical abuse? Really? Abuse is abuse. Abusing power. I don't take too kindly to that, and neither should you. For me, it's time for all that bullshit to end. The people like this clown better just get it into their stupid wee skull that this isn't going away. This is only going to continually grow. Regardless of how much effect they think they're having on YouTube. Again, we see it on these social media platforms, make no bones about it. These things are owned by these corporations, these very same people that want to maintain their stature and their power. So they're going to promote heavily and favour, you know, manipulative child abusers like this guy. And he's like, I'm not interested in their hubris and their pseudo-intellectual nonsense, trying to combat me with language, use of rhetoric. I'm not interested. The function of my reality is plainly obvious. Water doesn't have the ability to support shear stress. Water will find the lowest point, it will fill the void, and then it will find its lowest energetic state, which is a flat line. To suggest that bodies of water can convex and mound up on themselves would require an untold amount of unknown energy. Some abstract physics that's no part of your existence. But these people sit there, displaying their hubris, their pomposity, their downright stupidity, and their willingness to perpetuate lies and nonsense, while offering nothing. Holding up a whiteboard and putting dots on it, and making wee squiggly lines with letters and numbers on it, doesn't combat a practical reference. But that's what they continually do, and they think they're fucking smart. I'm just going to continually point out that they have nothing. You can go to any one of these characters' channels and you will never, ever find any sort of practical reference or direct measurement that would even remotely support the idiotic concept or notion that you exist on a little rock zipping through a vacuum, an infinite void. It's totally preposterous. So again, they use NLP, smug, authority type attitudes. Really, they're just insecure morons that I see right through. They don't have any inner strength. They've got nothing about them. Empty shells. Pathetic. Weak. So, they'll use that authoritative approach and make sweeping statements or offhand statements and, hand-waving suggestions, and then they'll offer you up nonsense. Like, a bit like this guy. This is, somebody's asked this guy the question of water and its behaviour, and this is the type of responses you're going to get from them.
Look, while you're trying to think of a question, watch this video clip of water conforming to the outside of an object.
Now, to the gullible and the people who are unawares, this would maybe be enough. This is part of the hypnotist's trick, the liar, the charlatan's trick, is to show you a wee parlour show, a wee magician's trick. What people need to ask if you've got critical discernment is, what has this got to do with your reality? Wherever this guy is, whatever he's up to in his wee studio set, using, visual technology, whatever it may be, that doesn't represent my reality. That's not how things behave in my reality. So why would a guy like this use this as if it's some sort of proof of something? Again, displaying his willingness to deceive children and gullibles. As long as I can show you something on my TV screen, that means it's real. This is their science. This is the type of nonsense they get involved in. Or they'll do the other old, trick. Like this guy, he's another one. Sitting there all smug, another spineless, weak little man that's very willing to step up and abuse children psychologically and emotionally with his fucking jargon. He'll say things like, that's exactly, I'll make an example of how water behaves. That's exactly how we expect it to behave, eh? No, it's not. No, it's not. Globes don't have level-contained water. Globes have rotund, convex bodies of water.
Exactly what I'd expect. Quite amusingly, he has unknowingly...
Quite amusingly, what you have to do is analyse this attitude that they have. Again, it's taught in authority. How to speak down to people. How to, you put your demeanour across that implies you have authority over them. And that's exactly what people like this guy get up to. And they sit there all smug, thinking they've got a grasp on it, and thinking they're right. But really, these guys know they're not right. Really, for me, these guys know they're telling lies.
Proven that gravity is real. If you have studied physics at any level, you'd know that the...
So he's talking about gravity here, and this is the point I'm going to get to with this guy, Conspiracy Cats. Aye, I don't know why that's so low. I can't boost that volume right now. So he's talking about gravity here, and they continually use the word pull The pull of gravity. We'll get into a wee bit more of this gravity nonsense because, as I say, by Baldycats and his lies about what I was talking about, I've had a deluge of fucking incompetent zealots spewing all sorts of ridiculous nonsense under the videos that are related to the aspects of motion and acceleration and gravity. Because what I was pointing out is that, you know, they're invoking gravity as a pulling force and they're invoking it as a cause of acceleration and motion. Now, what I was pointing out to people was that in motion, it's pressure variation. You have to apply pressure to something in order to make it move. That's how motion's created. You can't break that. That's how it works. Pressure variation. So what I was continually showing was that they keep using this word pull. Like, pull's some sort of thing. You know, I watched that guy Bill Geed or whatever it is. The guy is a physicist or something, or a mathematician or whatever. You know, and even he was talking about that. You can't even imagine what a pulling force would be. Because you either need some sort of attachment or you need something at the back of something pressing. Right? That's what's required in order to achieve these things. But they continually use these statements just off the cuff. Gravity, you know, like this guy. Well, water always finds its level. But only when forces are acting, it will conform to the forces acting upon it. Like wind and currents and, you know, these types of natural things. But when they start using gravity, you've got to ask the questions, well, what's it actually doing, this gravity? What's its function? How is it managing to make water support its own shear stress and mound it on itself to curve round the exterior of bodies and objects? Does it inject something new into them? No, they never offer any clarity. They just say it's a buzzword, it's a religious mantra. Just to bamboozle you, because the majority of people's relationship to these words is they just don't understand it. So in their ignorance, they can be affected by the use of it continually. So all dipshits like him and conspiracy cats need to do is to adopt an authoritative, sure of themselves approach and then spew the religious mantras and phrases. And that's enough to bamboozle their gullible onlookers, as you will see.
Force of gravity relies on a couple of things: the mass of objects and the distance between them.
So we'll get to that gravity nonsense again shortly.
Of course the water will not stick to a ball. If it's being done here on Earth, do it on the...
This is another one. Of course the water will not stick to a ball if it's done here on Earth. You have to go to another reference frame removed from your reality. So this is part of their wee tricks. And again, using that assertive approach, like it's got some sort of validity, what he's just said. What he's basically just said is, no, I can't show you the Starship Enterprise going at warp drive speed because we need to go to the fourth dimension. But trust me, it works and it's real. That's what I'm talking about.
The space station, though, where the effect of Earth's gravity is much weaker, and it works quite well.
So here again, there you go. Now we're on another removed reference frame, the space station, and gravity and its workings there. So again, let's ask this question, what are they talking about with gravity? Because we've established there's no such thing as pull. I can't just make something come without either attaching or going round the back here, and I still need a mechanism of applied pressure in order to wind it in or to press it from the back. But then they start talking about Einsteinian, the warping and bending of space-time. So I've got an idiotic moron. Let me just read it.
Do you want a cup of tea?
Please. So this is the type of nonsense we get as a result of morons like priestly figures like conspiracy cats spewing jibber jabber at his wee, gathering of followers. Right? They come at me and ask me fucking and make ridiculous statements. So where was it? When you sit a ball on your bed and sit next to it, gravity. Oh really? Wonderful. So, again, we're back to this linear, two-dimensional, flat plane that they call space-time or something. and you place an object on top of it and it bends inwards, right? Then if you put stuff there, it's going to fall into the cavity. But that's no a proper modelling of their jargon. Because first and foremost, you can't have it on a flat plane like that, where it just sits in it. You'd have to envelop it in the whole thing. So now what's its function? Is it now flowing at every given point into the central position? And how's it flowing? And what's flowing? And how does it have the ability to make water convex? Because again, this is just a parlour trick. This is Sideshow Bob nonsense seen on a TV screen. Can you demonstrate this in our shared reality where we actually exist? No. But they think they've got the upper hand because people have got a belief that men are gone in wee spaceships to this outer space vacuum thing. Again, you ask the questions. I don't need to go through their whole nonsense to debunk them. My reality shows me. How do I create a pressure of gas? I need a container. How do I create a lower pressure of gas? I still need a container, and I need some way of extracting and lowering the pressure in there. What happens if I put those two lower pressures and higher pressures together? Well, that's right. If there's no membrane between them, the high pressure immediately expands into that void. So they're not going to space that you think. There's no vacuum. It doesn't exist. It's nonsense. The reason it's nonsense is, again, going back to the start of this, as a human being, discern for yourself. Show me some sort of practical reference that would allow you to even entertain the notion that that is slightly possible. You don't have one. All you're going to have is priestly figures like these two dipshits with whiteboards, poking dots on it. F equals ME and all that, meh. That's not a practical reference. What relationship have I got to this jargon in regards to my reality? That doesn't count. Away you go and practically demonstrate. Show me the function using practicality so that I can understand it. But they don't have any. All they have is this. Look what I can show you on my TV screen. Well, you can see anything on your TV screen. Does that mean it's real? No. If you see Superman on your TV screen, you don't sit there going, oh, Superman's real. So why the fuck do you think any of this is real?
Just saying.
Just saying. Just saying. Just stop that just now. And we'll come back to this. We'll come back to this once I just make a smoke and I get my cup of tea. Half time, half time. So again, the whole crux of this that people really need to understand, we have to remove language. You know, mathematics is just a tool. It's a formal science. It's linguistics. You know, when we use arithmetic's numbers that are related, real numbers that are related to, although they're man-made measurements, decided measurements, or increments, we can still apply that. We can apply arithmetic to direct reality. But when you start invoking concepts of unseen stuff and the reasons why stuff happens, you're just a religious fruitcake. You're no different to any other person who, a Christian or whatever, that invokes their God as being the creator of all, the prime mover. These people think that they're far removed from, oh, that's childlike religion. Look at my equations. They're just as daft. But the agenda has promoted them in order to give them some sort of validity. And then through generations and increments, people have accepted it. And it's set in that these people are the bar, these people are the cutting edge. They're no. They're morons. They're religious priests keeping you stifled. With jargon, nonsense, metaphysical, hubris. That doesn't mean anything. So again, this conspiracy cats guy, when I showed a video, when I pointed out the push-pull thing, this guy didn't have a clue. What's happened is that this guy has had a realisation and then probably been told and prompted, you're going to have to deal with this. So what he's done is he's tried to reverse it, that he's got the upper hand and ridiculing my points, and then now trying to assert that it's always been the case that gravity is an applied pressure or some sort of push. Well, that's not how you've been using it, son, or any of you. You've been continually asserting that it pulls and using that word deliberately to put a false image in people's minds. Because if your gravity is some sort of push, then your whole model, your whole nonsense is fucked. It's fucked anyway. But it's just another nail in its coffin. And I'll get into that in more detail in the very near future. So you look for them and look at their videos. They don't have any practical reference for anything. What they're doing is they're pointing at people like us who use practical references and then sit there telling us we're wrong because they've got a whiteboard and a pen. That's how fucked up these people are. Laughing at people showing you representations of practicality of your direct reality. Ridiculing it. And then applauding themselves. While at the same time showing you cartoons. Tricks on TV and squiggles on whiteboards and pieces of paper. Like any other fairy tale, when you point it out and say, well, it's just a fairy tale. I've never experienced any of that. There's nowhere for me to experience it. No. Look at my long-winded explanations and my extravagant designs and images and symbols. And I still don't believe in the abominable snowman. You can draw it for me all you like. It's still not real. Hang on a wee second just to see here. Aye. So, this warping and bending of space-time gobbledygook, it's going to envelop the whole thing. So where's it gone? And then they're telling you, what is the stuff? What is it? What's it made of? How's it being warped? Is it just a vacuum of space? Well, how can you have, this is the problem, how can you have a no pressure environment pressing in on a pressurised environment? That's just nonsense. It's the total opposite. You need something pressuring in. You need something pressing inwards. You can't have, low pressure pressing in on high pressure. That's not how it works. So as I say, this guy knew exactly what I was talking about and what I was pointing out and what I was trying to clarify. He went on to misrepresent me. To say that by me pointing out I was claiming that gravity is not real. But what he means by gravity is the way in which objects fall. I don't deny objects fall. Or the way in which they fall. Never once. So this guy continually lies and misrepresents me. I'm not even going to show his video. I'm sick of him. What I'm going to do is I'm going to calmly, continually point out the use of their tactics. And I'm going to get right under their fucking skin with it. And I'm not going to let up. I'm not even going to curse them. I'm not even going to get irate and annoyed. I was in a bad mood yesterday. So what I'm going to do is point out their tactical use. How they're implementing it. And what it really means. So, the way in which objects fall has got nothing to do with the shape of the earth. Absolutely diddly squat, zilch to do with it. If you're going to invoke a reason for direction in the way in which objects fall, it has to fall in line with the practical references as we understand it. Another dipshit that came over tried to spew jargon about a piston connected to a conrod which is connected to a crankshaft in an internal combustion engine, and tried to tell me that it's being pulled downwards. This is a stupidity that's being bred by priestly figures like that cretin. The piston's connected by inclined planes, bolts that clamp round the shaft. The shaft's being driven and pushed. Now, if the inclined planes weren't there and connected by the shims, it wouldn't pressure it in the downwards position. There's combustion happening. The gas is ignited in the chamber. That expanse pushes the piston in the downwards motion. But the whole process is started by the drive. The solenoid first and foremost, which is powered by electricity, which is a whole other discussion. But that energy, or whatever you want to call it, pushes the solenoid into the cog and then starts to drive it, pushing against it. And the whole internal combustion engine, every machine, every aspect of motion is applied pressure. Every single case. But again, you get these clowns coming over thinking they're intelligent, making an absolute cunt of themselves because of morons like conspiracy cats. Again, breeding stupidity. We'll read some of them out shortly. I'm not even going to show any more of these clowns. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to save it for individual videos and focus right in on their jargon. I'll do a proper response. Wait a minute, what was this one? How does water not having the ability to conform to the exterior of shapes and objects? It can only take the shape of the containment, and the surface will be an equilibrated, even plane in every direction. That does not fit your idiotic mathematical concept that exists only on paper.
So that's fine, I agree with him that water finds its level.
See, there you go. That's again, so he agrees with everything I just said. But what he'll then do, using his sophistry, is try and redefine level. And again, in reality, in the real world, level is no deviation from the starting point, no deviation in elevation from your starting position to your end position. That's what level means. After this is when I made the challenge, because when they continually talk about models, what they talk about is conceptual models, linguistic models, interpretation of intangible phenomena like the sky and the luminaries. When I talk about models, I talk about scaled versions, representations of some physical aspect of my reality. So I made the challenge to this clown. Let's have a scale model build. Now what he goes on to say is, I'm up for that, but can yours predict this and yours predict that and that and that and that? Challenge again, fucktard. A physical model, a physical scaled representation of the possibilities of the reality that we're living in. So you accept the challenge, let's see it, let's have a date set. Respond to me in a video accepting that challenge that you can build a scaled down model of your globe nonsense using real substances from the real world. No plastic oceans or plasticine oceans or penned in oceans. You can't achieve it, sonny boy. None of you can, because it's not real. I can. I don't need to know the full dimensions of the earth. But I can use anything to give a representation. Anything. And I can use all the natural compounds, substances I can utilise every single one of them. You can't. All you can do is hold a wee rock and then spew imagination about what you imagine it could be, because you're a fucking lunatic. No a real guy, no a guy with integrity, no a man, no spine, a child abuser, a weak, insecure, needy, treacherous, criminal child abuser. And I'm going to continually point at you, son, and the rest of your ilk, and highlight your tactics. Look forward to it. Get the video made. Accept my challenge. I bet you shite your wee Superman knickers that your poor missus has to wash again, because you're an incompetent, lazy, wretched little cunt. Chop chop, away you go and get your potato rock and start building your model, son. So let's just hear it, shall we, so that everybody knows that he accepted it.
Well, we all know it does, not a problem. But then things get a little bit bizarre.
Do you have an actual model? Bizarre. He says it's bizarre. Again, this is a use. It's bizarre. What, to expect you to be able to demonstrate your claim? That's no bizarre. It's bizarre to you because you're a cult lunatic, a psychotic, child abusing fucko. It's bizarre to you because you don't know how to relate to actual objective reality. Your head's full of fucking nonsense. Conspiracy cats.
Yeah, I showed it just a couple of videos ago.
I challenge conspiracy baldy cats here to a scaled down model build.
Yeah, so Dell wanted to challenge me to a model building competition.
See, this is where he does his trick, a model building competition. Because in his mind, he's talking about conceptual models. He's talking about mathematical models. I'm talking about a physical representation of your claim. So just to clarify it, sonny boy, I want a physical, scaled down representation of what you think reality actually is. Let's watch him contort his wee idiotic mind and run away, making excuses with his tail between his legs, because he can't achieve it. We all know he can't achieve it. Do you know why? Because it's no fucking reality.
I think we all know how that would end up.
Fucking hell, where's the fucking blue piece, you fucker? Lego doesn't curve, you piece of tosh. Get the
Let's see. I don't need to use Lego. You need to use plastic, son. So chop chop, get to it. You accepted the challenge. Now I'm holding you to it. Get it built. We're talking about the earth. The earth. Rock, dirt, air and fucking water. Let's see how you get on. Can't wait. That's enough of that. Scumbag. Oh, here's another interesting one. This, again, for people, this shows you the level of it. I was absolutely dumbfounded at this. Absolutely dumbfounded. This is incredible. You can check this out for yourselves, people. Go to your maps, Google Maps, click on satellite, right? Where you know, we've all seen this. Right? Look at this. We can go anywhere. Let's go there. Oh, look. Look at this. This is a planetoid or something that they've been to, and they've mapped it. What does that say? Crater, name origin, character in the tale, Isaac of Mosul and the Merchant. What about this one? Genie who marries Ahmed and helps him fulfill the demands of his father. These people are fucking absolute morons. They live in fantasy realms. They've lost touch with actual reality. Let's go somewhere else, shall we? We can visit anywhere in the universe, because these guys have figured it out. They've mapped it for us and everything. Let's go to Titan. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. Can't wait to go to Titan. I can't wait to go to Indian goddess of beauty and magic. That's a lovely wee crater. Oh, in Norse mythology, 12 poisonous ice-cold rivers. But we better be prepared when we go there. We need to sort the logistics out for visiting that area of Titan. Where else shall we go? Oh, the universe is our oyster. We can fucking go anywhere. What one do you fancy? What's like Pluto? Let's go to fucking Pluto. Oh, there he's there. The outline of Pluto, the cartoon character. What's this? Named for Clyde Tombaugh, discoverer of Pluto. The legendary discoverer of New Zealand and Maori mythology. Valis. Gickless crater. One more? Let's go one more, fuck it. We're travelling far this evening. Europa. Oh, that's lovely. Lovely lines. Lovely contours to the painting. Drizzlecombe Linear. Euphemus Linear. Bulgatin Regio. Mercury. Lunatics. Fantasists. Do not let your children anywhere near these creepy weirdos, because they're warping their perceptions. And it's to the child's detriment. Stunting them. Retarding them. That's what this heliocentric globe nonsense does. Retards you. Makes you ignorant. Passive. Confused. Happy to be in bewilderment. Clutching at straws. Grabbing at certainty that's no there. Well, fuck cakes like him run amok. And you accept your enslavement into an idiotic idea that you call civilization. It's a fucking disaster. When they say you descended from monkeys, they're no fucking kidding. Because if you buy any of these people's bullshit and all this crap that they're offering you, then you have descended from the monkey because the monkey's smarter than you. Fucking incredible. So let me see. So the videos in regards to push-pull and questioning gravity have been spammed by utter retards. This, interestingly enough, this is an interesting watch for anybody. Believe it or not, this was actually Timmy Osmond that sent me this, and I had a chat with Timmy Osmond, who seems to have made some realisations, and it was actually a decent conversation we had. You know, I'll have a discussion about that, and you know, some of the aspects of why these things happen, and you know what goes on with certain characters or whatever. But he actually sent me this, and he titled the email "Maybe I Was Right," because this guy's talking about the pool hoax and some of the other jargon that the theoretical physicists and fantasists are coming out with. So I'm going to copy the video URL and I'm going to share it in the chat box right now. It just goes to show some people do actually learn and move on from their ignorance. So that's worth checking out. Have a listen to it. Right. Magnets pull. You see, this is the other aspect of these morons because of conspiracy cats. It quite clearly stated that pull's only a descriptor of bringing something closer to you or bringing one object closer to another. That's not what we're interested in. We're talking about the mechanisms of motion being created in the first place, where you have to have a variance of pressure. Okay? So magnets don't pull anything. You can't even imagine pull. It's not a thing that exists. Right? There's no force or anything you could denote that would show pull. It's a variance of pressure that makes things move. And how much pressure you apply is going to denote how far and how fast things move. So don't keep coming with this magnetism bullshit, because you don't have a clue what's going on. There's my stalker. You need to give me 2 seconds to deal with the stalker. What is it? I know. I'm on doing this. You saying hi? You gonna say hello? Say hi. Wave. Look, who's that? Is that you?
Yeah.
You talk to yourself, isn't it? You know, the second person there. That's Harley. So, where was I? Aye, check that out. Right, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to open up. If anybody's sent me an email, I'm going to have a wee look here. Right, Andy S. How do you get on to talk? Right, just bear with me, Andy S. You stealing my Pringles? They're mine.
Dang.
They're mine.
Dang.
They're mines.
I got it.
They're mine.
Dang.
Right, Andy S. I've sent you the link. So, how's it all going, people? You away with them? Right, go. You're going to go and get mum now? How's all doing? And to get into add in the chat. I'm also thinking about having a wee kind of darts night or something here. Maybe a couple of games of poker or something. If anybody's interested in that, let me know. I was thinking about arranging it within the next couple of weeks. A wee night of darts and, you know, some poker or something. I'll get a table in here, I'll get some chairs, depending on the numbers. Just as a wee social gathering. You know, as I say, I like social gatherings when there's something to focus on, like poker or darts, you know. Aye, let me know. Give me a shout. Exactly, flat chord music. They just use magnets because they don't understand what's going on. But they utilise it because there's a lack of understanding. They think it gives credence to their idiotic notions of pulley forces. It's ridiculous. You know, this is the thing. You're listening to that guy, Bill Gates, he's talking about that. They talk about pull like, you know, wee space balls are fired out that hit against something that make it come towards. It's fucking ridiculous. It's just totally counterintuitive. You know, shits all over, you know, your direct experience of reality. You can't, there's no, we're not talking about magician tricks here. Imagination of fantasy land where you can, make it come. That's not how reality works. Right, poker and all that, let me know. Now that cat's clown, again, you know, misrepresenting and telling barefaced lies about me. And, you know, I've had a barrage of idiotic cretinous morons. Let's see, there's probably more. Our world below. So you're saying gravity doesn't pull because you can't see anything physically pull something down. So by the same logic, do you believe magnetism doesn't exist here? This is what I'm talking about. No, I'm not saying it's because I can't see it. And what I'm pointing out is that there's no such thing as pull. There's no force of pull. But because of that baldy prick's misrepresentations and barefaced lies, he's given a false idea to these bewildered cretins. And that again, you know, get somebody here going on about gravity, I'm denying things fall. No, I'm not. When have I ever? Can anybody point it? Can anybody show me where I denied things fall? That just buckled me. When you sit a ball in your bed and then sit next to it, gravity. That's a displacement. That's displacement. That's what that is. So again, if you're saying that the Earth displaced the fabric of space-time, then it had to do it 360 every possible direction in an inwards fashion. So what's it doing? What is it that's pressing in? What is it? Is it flowing in? Is it a kind of solid spongy material that, or is it like water? Like putting something in water where it's enveloped by water and the water pushes in equally in every direction? I mean, what are they talking about? This is the questions. But they don't know. They've not got a clue. They just made it up. No, they don't like it beyond belief. As I say, that's, Conspiracy Cats didn't even know. He learned something from me, and he said to jump on it and just twist it all, and then just blatant lies. He's an idiot, a fucking moron. So a link was sent there to Andy S. I'll give you another minute, Andy S, and then I'm going to move on. Supercurve, I'm sick of this, the tug of war thing. You're applying pressure to the rope. If you're taking the rope towards you, you're applying pressure. The directional force is inwards into the rope, pushing in on it. That's a directional force. Which is why if you put like an inclined plane on it, you would have more grip, because your directional force is something to resist it. So if you've just got a smooth rope and you put grease on it and you squeeze and you try and apply your directional force onto it, you're not going to have any friction, you're just going to come right off it. Are you daft? Stop listening to baldy cats. They're making you stupid. No, you squeeze the rope, that's your grip. Then the directional force is inwards in this direction towards you. That's the inward push, the inward pressure. The direction of pressure being applied is that direction. You absolute clown. The descriptor of direction, you can use the word pulling. The force and its direction where it's applied is the pressure. Squeeze. Direction now. Straight in. Now you want to bring it towards you, so you have to contort the direction of the pressure in that direction. Again, if you've got ridges on it, you've got something better to resist where you're applying the pressure. Stop being lazy. Stop listening to Conspiracy Cats and all these morons. They're keeping me stupid. I'm not even going to respond to you anymore. Exactly, Emerald Rider. Cunt's obsessed. Absolutely obsessed. Has to be obsessed. He has no choice. He has to put himself up here for a pasting. And all he can do is make the same joke over and over again. No be long before he's flung under the bus, because I'm going to continually prod the cunt with a salty finger.
Yeah.
Hello. Hello,
Just on the phone. Hi there.
how's it going?
Can you hear me?
Can hear you all right?
Yeah, hi Dal. I was just had to disappear for half an hour. I was really engrossed in your presentation, and I've sort of lost track of it now because I had to disappear. I got your email, and just wanted to say, first of all, it's just really nice to hear an ordinary guy talking about stuff like this without bombarding me with bullshit, basically. I totally get where you're coming from. You know, since I embarked upon this, I'll say voyage of discovery, if you like, I've got entangled in so many debates on YouTube, and all I get is numbers thrown at me,
Yeah,
equations,
yeah.
you know, and I'm just getting so weary of it. You know, it's like this. They use their knowledge to beat you down with.
Bamboozle
You know what I mean?
It's just bamboozling, try to bamboozle you with sophistry, mate. It's formal language. It doesn't mean anything. It's no real world numbers attached to real substance. It's just gobbledygook.
Well, I do sometimes feel, you know, as I'm sort of looking into this, I do feel a little bit inadequate in some ways because I don't have a knowledge of science. I don't. I never took any interest in science at all.
Yeah.
As far as I was concerned, you know,
But
the Earth was revolving around the sun, and that's it. And now I find, by looking into it a bit further, we're zooming through the galaxy at 1 million miles an hour, 250,000 miles an hour. Right? It just doesn't make sense.
that's worse than that. It's 500,000 miles an hour we're going round the sun, apparently. But
Sorry.
but that what you're saying there, mate, that's exactly what I was saying at the beginning of this kind of presentation. You know, that's what you've just said is exactly what I wanted to highlight. That you feel a bit lost because you never involved yourself in science. But that's their wording of science and what they've categorised as science. You have the same faculties as every other human being. So if you say something about reality, you can bring it to me and show me it. If I say something, I can bring it to you and I can show you it. You've got the ability to understand it, the mechanisms, the function of it, if it's broken down and it's shown to you. That's real, you know, inquiry of our objective reality. The science that the way they use it and the words that they're using, it's not the way I'm talking about it of practicality and physical references. They're just talking about concepts and abstract notions and theories, fantasy. That's no science. That's religion. It's fairy tales. That's why.
Yeah, sorry. One thing I did want to say, and I don't know if anyone else can relate to any of your subscribers can relate to this, but what brought me into this more than anything else was the hostility and hatred. I simply had to find out what all the fuss was about.
Yeah.
Had it not been for that, I'd have probably just walked on by.
Yeah.
But the first video I ever watched on this was by this guy, Conspiracy Cats, who you've referred to quite a lot, who incidentally puts these little snippets of you in his videos in order to make you look stupid.
Yeah.
You probably know this.
Yeah.
But now that I've found your channel, I've found a guy who talks eloquently and intelligently and is on my wavelength. But, you know, his intention is to discredit you. But anyway, I'm watching and I'm thinking, nah, hang on a minute. Why are you so hung up on this? And then I started looking for stuff. And when you look for the stuff, most of what comes up is the negative stuff. It's the debunking stuff. I've noticed that the real information I'm looking for is buried in a sea of scientific debunking jargon.
Exactly.
So you really have to go looking for people like you and various other people.
Yeah.
But I did. And had I not had the determination to do that, I'd have probably given up.
Yeah.
That also arouses my suspicions that something isn't right. There's something going on here.
Exactly. Well, you're spot on, man. You're in touch with exactly the right track. And as I say, if you go to YouTube right now and you type in Beyond the Imaginary Curve, the very first video that comes up is Conspiracy Cats. You know?
Well, Yeah, this should make it pretty obvious to anybody. No matter how much, if you type into a Google search, flat Earth, no matter how much you try and weight it in favour of research, nothing comes up.
No.
Nothing at all. It's all debunking. Now this should be a red flag to everyone.
Exactly.
I'm quite new to this, and I'm not going to sit here and declare to you now that I am a flat Earth. I am totally convinced. But you've got my interest.
Yeah.
You really have.
Good.
Yourself. There are others as well. My first introduction to this was by Eric Dubay, and yourself. There are a few others as well. But what concerns me about, and I'm really glad to be able to, because in my day-to-day life, I never get to talk about this with anybody. So sorry if I'm starting to waffle a bit.
No, you're all right. Yeah. Doing fine,
the also the thing that worries me a little bit is it really, especially in the case of the guys that you refer to, you refer to them quite a lot, Conspiracy Cats and the Simon Down, people like that. You sit there watching them and you think, are you really interested in the truth, or is it your ego you've got invested in this?
Well,
is this really you're trying to help people? I just get the feeling that it's all about notoriety and ego.
Yeah, it is. It's this is old hat techniques. The use of propaganda. Taking an authoritative stance. Hand waving gestures. The use of NLP. This is what these guys are utilising and using continually in their videos. But just come back to what you said there about, you're not, I'm no a flat earther. That's why I always, when I put that in the title, I always explained at the beginning the reasons why I'm using the title. And that's for me is the whole point. This is about an objective inquiry. We're asking questions of the claim that was put to us as children all the way through our lives, and asking valid questions about the inconsistencies and the absolute lack of any measurable proof. So when I'm using the term flat earther, I don't know the full dimensions. I don't know, what's encompassing this whole thing and how far we can go, what the sky is, or any of these things. I'm asking questions of the model and the claim that was put to me, and I have found nothing to support it. Absolutely nothing.
And the other thing I notice happens is when you do start asking these questions, you're quite an assertive guy. You make no bones about it. You're asking these questions, and I really respect that. What I notice as well is the troll activity.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen those vintage Frankenstein films where the angry peasant villagers come to the castle gates with their burning torches. It just reminds me of that.
Exactly.
Where do these people come from? It's just this hatred and this animosity.
Yeah.
This subject generates.
Yeah.
I don't know if the intention is to turn people away from it, but it's having the opposite effect on me.
Yeah.
What these people are telling me is, there is something here that's touched a raw nerve with you. I'm going to look into it. Sod you if you don't like it.
Exactly. But that's the level that you're at, mate. And unfortunately, the bewildered masses are still at the level of being under the hypnotist's spell. So that use of the way they incorporate the tools still has an effect on the gullible. But, for me, the majority of these troll accounts are operated by, one guy who may have 10. And it's just to give the appearance that there's a consensus and a weight of authority and consensus that's enough psychologically and emotionally just to make people turn away, who don't have maybe a bit of wisdom, a bit of age, a bit of life experience to think, no, hang on a minute, I recognise that something's off here with this, So again, these guys dig their own grave. They don't realise that just you're a testament to it. Their antics are actually pushing you in the right direction. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, was it? I'm trying to think of a famous quote by, I think it was Oscar Wilde said, "The only thing worse than being talked about is not being talked about."
Yeah.
What he's saying there is there's no such thing as bad publicity. What these people are too stupid to realise, people like the people that make these anti-flat Earth videos, is they're actually lending weight to the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, they're actually, it's because of people like them that I'm here now. I would have just walked on by. I would have just laughed at this and walked on by.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing that is so ridiculous. I mean, if someone made a video and said Santa Claus is real, I've got evidence. Santa Claus is real. I've seen his elves. You're not going to make a video about it. It's just ridiculous.
Exactly.
But yet here we are. people on a subject they claim is just as ridiculous, dedicating their lives to making debunking. That should tell us something.
Exactly, and what I've just pointed out is that the people like me are offering practical references, demonstrations. Guys like Conspiracy Cats and Simon Dan, they just ridicule it and then sit there drawing wee, pencil drawings on pieces of paper, poo-pooing practical reference, while at the same time trying to suggest that this nonsense jargon that they're putting on whiteboards means something.
Yeah.
And again, I was at the Glasgow University on Wednesday, I think it was, and I had a guy come up to me and recognised me because he's a subscriber to Simon Dan and Conspiracy Cats. So I ended up having a discussion with this guy, which was a really good discussion, and obviously the guy was starting to realise, well, wait a minute, something's not right here, because he's just been bombarded by this NLP nonsense that these guys are offering up. So fuck them, they're digging their own grave, and I'm quite happy to watch them bury themselves. So
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that we keep on hearing from the quote, scientific community, which I don't think half of these trolls represent. I think they're all just masters of Google, to be honest.
yeah,
They that's the trouble. Is Google makes experts of us all.
exactly.
I could say I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
Give me 5 minutes, Google search, bit of copying and pasting, and you'll be convinced I'm a doctor. That's a lot what this is.
Exactly.
But something you dwell on quite a lot, and this is, forget about all the maths and all the physics and all the rest of it. This is something you dwell on quite a lot, which and it's really, really cool. I never thought of it before. Is water.
Yeah.
Well, any liquid bending. I mean, you do not have to have a doctorate in physics or any science to know that water, by its very nature, doesn't curve.
Yeah.
So I've kept asking this question a bit, and they do say the worst thing you could do on YouTube is try and get into conversation with on the comments section. But I've desperately tried. Just give me a working demonstration. I just want to see a working demonstration of that. Just bend water for me.
Yeah.
Just show me how it bends 360 degrees, all directions around a ball.
Yeah.
And then I get things like someone mentioned a chrome ball at a garden centre. Go and look at the chrome ball water feature. You'll find as the water's pouring on a microscopic. Do you know what I mean? It's just, and you just sit there and you hold your head in your hands and you think, and you're calling me gullible.
Exactly.
But no,
Exactly.
I mean, that's not representative of our reality.
Exactly.
We live in a chrome ball in a garden centre. I mean, I
Right.
want to see it. I want to see it demonstrated. As soon as I see that, Del, I'll drop it like a hot brick, mate.
Right. Well, that's it. You're never going to get it, But there's other aspects, the geometric assumptions that we apply in engineering, navigation, construction. All these things are plain geometric assumptions. So we're starting from a level line. It's taken as a given that the Earth is a level plane, and that's where we build and construct. That's how everything works. It's right in front of us, but people are confused by it, by the switcheroo of the geometry of vision and the tangible three-dimensional world, coupled with an image on a screen. And that's enough to put people into a hypnotic trance of disbelief and confusion, where they just believe all this gobbledygook because the religious symbols constantly reaffirmed on a screen over and over and over again. So people start to, it's like that whole saying, keep the lie big, repeat it over and over again, and eventually people will believe it. So you've got real people that think bodies of water are bending, and there's people all relative to them stuck upside down on a boat. It's crazy.
Well, I never stopped to think about it. It never even entered my head.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, until I got into this, and you think, well, hang on a minute, how does that happen? And then of course you've got what seems to be the default explanations for anything that is unexplainable, and that's gravity.
Right.
So this is the one. This is the thing that's always thrown at you.
Yeah.
And of course that's very difficult to argue against because how do you? Because once you start arguing against that, you're arguing with Einstein and himself and Newton, and then you get into this whole dilemma. What is gravity? Is it a force? Well, yes, it's not a force, but it is a force.
Yeah.
But they don't. You only have to go on Google search gravity, and you'll find they don't freaking well know. No one really knows how to describe gravity.
Yeah.
But this is what's thrown at us every single time. Something that they can't even understand.
Exactly. It's like a God of the gaps type thing. As soon as I've got a problem or something they can't demonstrate, they just throw the buzzword. Gravity. It can do all sorts of fantastical things. Don't know what it is. Yeah. Don't know its function, but we can observe things that prove it. I mean, you know, watching how an object falls doesn't tell me anything.
Yeah, I know. It's a continual process of beating down, and then of course, if you dare to ask questions, then you're going. Then you get this. Well, have you written a paper, peer reviewed? You know, well, no. But look, I'm not a musician either.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I can't have an opinion on the music I'm listening to without having a knowledge of advanced harmony and musical notation.
But the difference, the difference with what you've just said there is that that's something practical that you can actually understand and get involved in. It's a tangible thing in 3 dimensions that you can understand. What they're talking about is it's an abstract, theoretical fantasy world, you know?
Well, yeah, I did hear one factor. Actually, no, it was you. You said this. Yes, I remember now. It said what they're doing is they're looking up at the sky and making up stories.
Yeah.
And that really, really rang a bell with me, because even before I got into this, I was watching a program on TV once about the universe, and I was thinking, do you know what? These guys don't really know any more than we do. Yeah. They're sitting here trying to figure it out. And this is where the arrogance comes into it. And I appreciate the fact that you're not like this at all. You're an ordinary guy like me. You know, I don't know what your background is. I had a very average education. I didn't get many qualifications. I was in the services. You know, I mean, I don't.
None of that means anything, mate. None of that. You know, our background, our education. It's about your ability to discern and articulate and question properly. That's all that matters. You can come from any background, as long as you've got the ability to discern and question things properly, you'll come to an understanding. You know, and again,
I think.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, Dale. I think for me personally, it's got to be about observations, what we can see with our own eyes.
Well,
all these numbers that we get thrown about, all these equations, absolutely meaningless. And I'm convinced.
Sorry, just to butt in, you know, what you're saying about what we have to see with our eyes. Your eyes alone are not enough. You know, your eyes can be deceived, which is why, again, they've done a switcheroo with the geometries, because vision is a different geometry from 3-dimensional tangible, the space that you move around in. You know, you can observe this. If you go into the street and you look along the street, you see the street, you know, rise up, the floor rises up, the walls narrow in, and the sky comes down. In physicality, that's not really happening. So, you know, so you have to understand that, you know, just saying I see something is never enough, which is what they're doing. They're seeing in 2 dimensions, you know, optical phenomena in the sky, and they're just making interpretations and storylines up about what it is they think they're seeing, you know?
Yeah, fair point. Yeah, we come back to the old ships disappearing over the horizon, don't we?
Yeah.
This is something that is a visual proof of curvature of seawater.
You asked them when they invoke that as a proof. You asked them how they accounted for the eye and how we actually view and how they've you know accounted for every aspect of that, and they've no. They just ignore it and just assert that it's the Earth curve.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Well, I've seen quite a lot of. I'm sure you have as well. Quite a lot of observations performed where people are using high-powered magnification devices and actually reeling objects back in that should have disappeared around the curvature. This is another point of interest for me. So much so that I'm currently trying to persuade my missus to let me have a P1000 Nikon camera, because I want to start going out and doing. I'm that keen. I want to actually spend the money and start going out and doing this stuff for myself. And I've only been into this for about 6 months. Started off just laughing it off, and gradually now it's become You know, like the first thing I think about when I wake up, the last thing I think about before I go to bed. I've become that much of an obsession. But listen, Del, I've taken up enough of your time. I really appreciate the chance of having a chat with a sort of like-minded soul.
Oh, appreciate
And,
it.
you know, all the best to you. And I shall carry on watching your stuff with great interest.
Thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure, bud. Thanks for coming on. Breath of fresh air.
All right, mate. See you soon.
Keep in touch. I'll hopefully see you back again. You're welcome anytime.
Yeah, that's when I've done some of my observations.
Well, remember, observations are just optical phenomena, and they're inconsistent and they're contradictory from one day to the next. And there's so many variations of, you know, people seeing this and seeing that, but it's not something quantifiable. It's not enough to go on. First and foremost, you know how the water behaves before you start your visual, you know, observation. So
yeah. Okay.
Cheers, my man.
Best of luck. Cheers then.
Take
Bye.
it easy, buddy. Just going to start another one up and see if anybody else has requested. The Duchess of Cambridge makes pizza during community garden visit. Watch this video, look at what she says to the children at 2 minutes and 25. Right, let me see. I'll share this with everybody. Hang on. 2 minutes and 25. I'll go for there, fuck it.
They're in a good classroom. George is at Thomas's, and he's learning about space. Have you all learned about space?
Huh.
Yeah. Okay, is this good?
Would you like some tomato? Fun.
Yes.
Have you all learned about space? See, this is another thing that really fucking sticks in my craw. Another part of the symptom of the mental illness and how people externalise and attach to things that are of no relevance to them whatsoever. Royal family, authority, stature, hierarchy, a placing relevance and importance and attaching emotional relevance to fucking people that you've never met, that have got no significance or anything to do with your life. They offer you nothing, nothing of any relevance whatsoever. Fake, empty constructs of patriotic, emotional attachments to utter jobby. Who is this woman? Why is she being allowed to mingle amongst children and relevance to be placed upon her like she's something important? She shites and pishes and her farts stink the same as everybody else. This bothers me, that human beings are so retarded that they externalise everything and place relevance to these idiotic people. Oh, it's the Queen and it's the royal family and it's what I'm part of. You're a fucking retard. They're just people. The whole structure is just an idea. The idea and the concept that you call civilization, society, is structured to benefit these needy, incompetent, useless cretins. It's not there to nurture you and yours and to provide a proper infrastructure and a nurturing process for us to progress and expand. It's there to keep you retarded. A useful tool so that they can wad it up and have a life O'Reilly. This is the roots of the problem here. But again, it ties into this We don't know where we are, we don't know what we're part of. So people start attaching to things in order to get some semblance of certainty and meaning and structure and security. Are you daft? Does she come and wipe your arse for you? Does she put food on your table? Does she heat you up when you're cold? No. So what the fuck are you up to? Bizarre. Much strangeness. The human populace is fucked up beyond belief. Excuse the pun, beyond belief. What's the royal family's coming to town? I need to get my wee flag and run out and go, I've seen the Queen. What the fuck does that mean? What is going on in the psyche of people? I don't get it. And now she's in schools. Oh, you're learning about space. You're learning about the fantasy realm. You're learning about the fake fantasy concept that's designed to stifle you and keep you in bewilderment. Are you learning it yet? How wonderful is it? It's amazing, isn't it? That fantasy realm that just puts us in bewilderment and stifles us. It's great, isn't it? Ooh. Fucking morons. Anyway, cheers for that. Shane. Where am I here? Vitor Angelo. This video by Ken Wheeler demonstrates how opposite poles of magnet work in regards to an apparent attraction towards each other. But he tells you that it's no attraction, and he's shown it. I've seen this video. In fact, they are being drawn by null point of low pressure between the two magnets as demonstrated by the use of the ferrocell. Well, that would fall in line. That's where my thinking goes. That whatever's happening there with magnets is creating a zone like that, or something. There's some flow. Something's being warped. There's something flowing inwards to a particular direction or a particular space. The geometric arrangement of the crystalline structure of the magnets, or whatever the fuck it is, the materials, whatever that has that effect on whatever it is, the ether, the something, the warping of space-time, whatever these dipshits want to call it, dark matter, dark energy, whatever. Something that they don't know. But when I see videos like that, it does sit better with me because it falls in line by deductive reasoning of every single other practical reference I can look at. That tells me if motion's happening, some pressure has to be being applied somewhere. There has to be a variance of pressure happening. Either lower pressure's being created so the higher pressure moves in, or whatever. So for anybody that's not seen it, I'll share it. I've seen it. Where was I? Inbox. Here's a holiday destination to save for Jean, West Coast Wisdom. The first space hotel that will be like a cruise in the stars. Architects release designs of cosy rooms and a cocktail bar from inside the luxury full gravity resort, hoping to have 100 tourists a week by 2025. Very good. What a load of utter fucking pants. Just mere signs of the desperation. We know it's not going to happen. Or they might say it's happened, but only a select few have been on it, and then a big disaster happened and it all fell apart. Fucking cretins. We know the vacuum of space bullshit is utter crap. So get up, lads. No amounts of conspiracy cats or Simon Dans or Neil deGrasse Tysons are ever going to stop real people from blowing apart your bullshit now. Get it right up, yous. Right. Copy. Time me on. I want to go and watch Luke Campbell against Lomachenko. So, let me see here. Who have we got? Inbox. Who did I miss? Nellis. Right, where are we? Aye, it's not about the destination, it's about the imagination, Emerald Rider. Aye. Bunch of fruitcakes on fucking LSD pandemonium, sitting in a room. Oh, I went to space. It was colourful. Seen the stars. Seen some pixie elves while I was at it. It's dark quick now, that's it, it's fucking over. Honestly, this whole spring and summer has just pushed down constantly. I'm sick of it, man. I need out of here. I want my children to have a better opportunity, experience being in the outdoors. This is driving me insane being stuck here. Fucking really is. I'm concerned for them. I want them to get away from this shit. It's just constantly dreary. Rained continually, and then the amount of rain this morning and last night has been fucking unbelievable.
Good evening.
How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm pretty fed up.
You're fed up?
Yeah.
You're always fed up.
Sorry?
Because you're always... Is this the right guy? Wait a minute to see. Alright, how's it going, mate?
Aye.
You're fed up with what? What are you fed up with?
Well, the people. I mean, I'm just seeing too much dysfunction, and I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but yeah. And as you point out, it's yeah. Especially with the royal family, it's like what you're saying is the voice in my head that doesn't dare to say it out loud, you know, in public or to family, because they all think like that, and yeah.
Right, it's bizarre.
But anyway, I was just thinking regarding the infinite or finite world. I was just thinking, if the Earth was infinite, we would technically never really know for sure, would we? Because
no. Well,
we have all sorts of logistical limits.
Yeah. Well,
to find out if it is, if you know what I mean.
Well, that's it. You know, I make no assertions that it's the Earth that's infinite, but what I'm saying is that the bigger picture of what we're a part of, you know, the prime mover, whatever,
has to be infinite.
It has to be infinite. You can't get to a point of finite because that's just impossible. It doesn't work, you know, because finite still denotes that something's happening within a particular space or area. So you're back to that again. Well, where's that area? And then where's that area? And where's, you know, and there's no way to ever escape it.
Yeah, exactly. It could be finite, but yeah, the outer shell is you might call it, has to be infinite.
Yeah, but then it's not a shell, is it? Because you're placing a geometry on it. You're trying to package it into some. You can't do that.
Yeah, I used the wrong word.
I know.
But yeah,
it's difficult. It's difficult when we're talking about these. You know, talking about the infinite and eternal. What words and concepts or geometry could you ever ascribe to it? It's impossible.
Yeah, and then back when I was not exactly voluntary, but I was raised in a Christian environment, and they talked about heaven, which according to them, is infinite
Yeah.
or eternal, and it always scared the living shit out of me because, yeah, it was infinite. So,
Yeah.
In whatever state you would be in that heaven, you would be that forever, and it scared me.
Yeah, I think it scares a lot of people. That's why I think they opt for finite type, religions or spiritualities or concepts or ideas, because it seems to give them a bit more security or certainty. And I can understand the psychology behind why people would opt for it, but it's much nicer and easier for me to know that that's what I'm part of, and to let go that I'm never going to be able to define it. Whatever my role may be after this, or if I have another role or another opportunity or an experience or whatever, I can't worry about that right now. It's pointless. But it gives me some sort of contentment to know that I'm part of something like that. But that's just me. I can understand why other people go the other road,
Yeah. But would you agree if I said that there could be meaning to life, but it be known to us during this?
Well, sorry, you're breaking up there. Can you hear me? You there, Nellis? Can you hear me, mate?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I totally lost you there. You were saying about...
Maybe it's my Wi-Fi.
You were saying about meaning to life. Sorry, that's as far as I got, and then you broke up.
Okay. Yes. So I asked if there is meaning to life. It might be that. Hold on, I lost my.
No, I know. Sorry, I know. I think I know where you're going, but that's the problem I encounter. If I attach like a meaning, something that's going to transcend this experience, then that tells me that I'm somehow adding to that infinite, that eternal. Well, it can't be infinite, it can't be eternal then. If I can have an experience here that adds or takes something away from that, it must be some sort of finite thing. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I've heard you talk about that earlier, but I'm not sure if I really comprehend it, because would that claim that there is no meaning to life?
Well, maybe you're an isolated pod and part of that infinite eternal field or whatever it may be that has the ability to grow and to learn new things, but the prime mover, the infinite, the eternal, can never be altered. You can never add or take anything away from it. The only thing you can do is experience any given aspect of it. Do you know what I mean? But you'll never add or take anything away from it, because if you could, it would be finite. But you as an isolated pod within it, say, just, trying to play with a concept or an idea, maybe you have the ability to grow, learn, change, whatever, but then you would still be connected to that infinite, eternal prime mover. So then again, you're back to the point, well, it gave rise to you. There's nothing new that you can add or bring about. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The only thing you can do is experience. It's like, try to use analogies. Well, if I go to the theme park, I can't add or take anything away. I can only experience it.
Right.
But this is the problem that human beings have. They're constantly trying to attach meaning and certainty to the experience they're having. And I think that's a result of the situation that we're in right now that breeds that kind of psyche, where we're emotionally, dysfunctional and schismed, where we try and clamber and adopt these concepts of certainty. Do you know what I mean? Rather than just it being, it's just an experience. It might not have any intrinsic meaning other than just an experience. But people don't like that because they see trauma, they see injustice, they see these concepts that they build in their mind, and they want retribution, they want justice, so they fabricate these finite concepts of the prime mover and eternity, which doesn't make any sense to me. So that's just me. I mean, I don't have the answers. I'm only working through my own experience. I'm not saying you're not allowed to say that. I just disagree. I have real difficulty trying to resolve some of these concepts.
Yeah, and it does really it's pretty easy for me at least to think that if there's nothing after this, then what's the fucking point of this? You know?
Yeah.
That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah. But that's the problem. You know, people are scared of that. You know, well, why would I put up with this if I'm just going to die and then there's nothing? So I can see that, you know, that can lead into a form of kind of nihilism where people would just self-destruct. You know, so you know, ideas and concepts can be quite dangerous in that regard, because if you're dealing with an irrational, unbalanced human, you know, if they actually adopt some of these things, it could spiral them into, you know, nihilism, self-destruct, whatever. But again, I really do have difficulty. I mean, you know that, oh, well, I'm going to go to this place because I'm good and you're going to go to that place because you were bad, and there's judgment and there's... But that tells me that this prime mover's finite then. You know, what's it up to? You know, is it sections of infinity where you're going to go if you were a bad soul, and sections of infinity that you're going to go if you were a good soul? I mean, it would already have known all that in the first place. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I grew up with that hell or heaven dilemma, and it does imply that you need to follow a certain set of rules, but they were very vague. And when I was younger, when I was still in that mindset, I was asking other people, when, I don't know the English word for it, but in Christian religion, it's some sort of thing that say if you have that, or if you are like that, then you will go to heaven. And I was asking, at what point are you sort of qualified to go to heaven? But they didn't have any answer. There was no clear line. It wasn't like, okay, you know, you need to do that and that and that, and then it's done. No, and then I was like, hang on a minute. If it is so vague, it doesn't make any sense, because if you that's when it started going downhill from there. I mean, I was like, hey, this doesn't add up.
No, that's it. I mean, I play with, you know, I played with the notion that, you know, we're part of the infinite, the eternal, whatever the fuck that is. Maybe there's a finite amount of souls, if you like, you know, are entities. And what we are is creative explorers and you know, and just experiencers. And what this is like, just like in the micro, you know, we could create a theme park or a play area, you know, and what starts to happen is that a hierarchy starts to form, and a dominance. One aspect of the spectrum wants to dominate and have it for itself, and you know, and that's what this is. This is just a formulated, you know, area of technology that we're partaking in, that we're having a shot of, and a particular, you know, part of the spectrum of the finite amount of souls are dominating this arena, are dominating this theme park, if you like. And that's what's going on here. But at the same time, we can willfully participate in that, or we can remove our will and participate and play whatever game we want to play. And that seems to be what's going on. You know, it's about your consent. Where you place your attention, your will, your desire, and your physicality is what's going to manifest and what you're going to achieve. But if you're no totally focused and in control of that, then that's going to be coerced. And you can be, you know, unwillfully taking part in somebody else's idea or game.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's exactly how I think this whole government, because there are too many people that let other people or allow other people to fuck them. I mean, like. Symbolically speaking. For example, there are petitions to do something about 5G. I don't know anything about 5G, but just as an example. So the amount of petitions that is 5,000, for example. And if you have 16 million people in a country, that's like less than 0.0. I calculated it was like 0.03%.
Yeah.
And it's if it's that small, what change are you gonna do? if there's so many people that do not sign it and just let it happen, then I understand why this world is the way it is, because too many people just don't give a fuck,
No.
or they just let things, other people that have, you know, the push, or
It's the apathy.
yeah.
It's the apathy that's bred into them, and that's for me. If you know, I'm tracing it, and I'm saying about the globe concept and how that puts you in a psychological state of confusion and bewilderment and fear and anxiety, which then allows you to be molded and swept up by, you know, manipulators, people that are using your ignorance or psychological and emotional state to their advantage. I mean, you see that on a small scale level around you every single day. You know, people are willing to be opportunists and jump in when they feel as if they've got the opportunity to use something to their benefit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, just keep extrapolating that up, and you can start to see the patterns. You can understand how it's happening, you know? Well for me anyway. But
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing I'm seeing, that to me, it honestly makes sense why it is the way it is now.
Yeah.
Why, yeah, all the little, even the little things, the big things. And I don't know, maybe it has to get a lot worse before it
does.
before people actually say, well, you know, fuck this, and we need to start over.
That's it. They've got to get it to breaking point before they're sick of it, you know? As I said the other night, it's that whole Roger Waters, you know, line that the species has amused itself to death. There's an air of inevitability about this, because it's just a concept. It's a faulty, you know, unnatural, you know, fucked up construct that we've all bought into, and it's flawed. It doesn't have any solid foundation. It's no nurturing. It's no to our benefit. So it's going to crumble. Eventually it's going to get to that point. But how long that takes, how far it's going to get, I don't know. But you can see the rumble.
No, me neither.
You can see the cracks right now if you're looking. You can see it, and you can see the discontent amongst people. So for me, it's inevitable. It's going to fold, just like anything that's built on a faulty foundation. Eventually, it's going to be found out. You know.
Yeah, totally agree.
But the problem for people like us is you're at a different stage, and you get discontented, you get frustrated. It's not happening quick enough. It's the same old fucking, you know, shit. You know, waiting for people to get to it.
Yeah, definitely.
So, you're not alone in
well,
your...
I think I had my... I've made my points.
I was just going to say, you're not alone in your discontent and your annoyance and your frustration, mate. Believe me, I'm there. I've been there for 5 years, mate. I've just had to learn how to put it at the back and keep focused, you know, as best I can.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not alone. But too bad these people that think... somewhat like or all on the other side of a cable, you know.
Yeah.
And not in my real life. I really appreciate it if I can have some people like that in my life.
Exactly, mate. And that's what it's good for. People misconstrue what I say about jumping in and professing friendships and love and admiration for people. But just, you know, people just have to be reserved in their communications and be cautious, and it's good to reach out and to be able to speak to like-minded people and to share, you know, thoughts and experiences with each other. But they just have to be aware of the pitfalls and the manipulators and the game players that may come in and cause some angst and problems there, you know. So it just takes a bit of caution with people, because on this it's really difficult. People can play a long game and lull people into a false sense of security, and then gaslight them and just cause them all sorts of emotional and psychological trauma that you don't need to have.
I've had that happen to me personally, and it was terrible, and it just leaves me with in complete confusion, because it kind of makes you think, well, is that person just evil, whatever the fuck that means, or just something looking for something to do that gets them off or whatever? It didn't make any sense to me. And I think though I'll never get an answer to that. But
No, you can't spend your time. All you need to do is recognise the traits of these people and keep them at arm's length, mate. That's the only thing I've learned in my life. You know. So, you there? Still there, mate? Hello? You there? Can you hear me, mate?
are you there?
Ah, you totally froze there, mate.
Yeah, your video went away. Hold on.
Alright.
But maybe I'm too far from the internet thing, but
Nah, mate. I find content in myself. The biggest thing that I learned in my life was, you know, waking up in the morning and being content with myself. The rest of it, I don't need to concern myself with. I just have to keep that kind of focus. Not a conceited, selfish man. Just a healthy respect and a contentment of being you. And that makes it easier for me. Then I don't, you know, because if I don't have that, then as you say, people tend to start looking for meaning and attachment to other people. And that's where the opportunists and the manipulators have got the upper hand. Then they can start playing games with people because they know people are in that needy, vulnerable kind of state of mind. Whereas for me, I don't need that. It's nice and I appreciate the ability to, you know, like, have conversations with people like yourself and to interact. You know, I do appreciate these things, but I don't need it. If I needed it, then it would be to my detriment. I would be causing myself some serious issues there, you know? So.
Yeah, and I feel the same way. I am content with myself to some degree, but it's just I'm not content with my environment, with the people around me, you know?
Same.
Because they've kind of, they ruined the experience for me. And as far as I know, I am here for an experience of what it is like to be passionate with someone, to experience love, whatever that means, and something like that. And
just to enjoy yourself. To enjoy yourself, mate. The same as you were when you were a kid. You were full of excitement and a willingness and to learn and create and just enjoy yourself. You know, like a thrill seeker. I just want to have a good time. What's all these dipshits causing a bad time for? What's the problem here? You know? What are they so threatened by?
That's kind of how I feel. It seems that everything in this world is preventing me from having the experience that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And and I feel so powerless in it because I do not have on my own the ability to do something about that. We need a more enormous amount of people that are fed up as well.
Exactly.
That say, okay, we want to have a good experience here, and obviously these and these and these things are preventing that. So let's do something about it.
Exactly. Let's paint a new picture. We can paint any picture we like. Why are we involving ourselves in this idiotic concept, this structure that doesn't benefit us, that makes us miserable? You know, what the fuck is wrong with people? Snap out of it. You know?
Yeah, and I can see in my own life with conversations I have with people, I honestly think that maybe not even 1% of them is happy.
No.
That they all have the same story. And every conversation that you do have in the supermarket is nothing more than where did you go on vacation, or when do you have your vacation, and how's work? Nothing else. It's always these shallow, empty things, and it's every time I have that. When I experience that, I'm like, fuck me, you know.
But then they make it worse for each other because they go on social media and have catalogue poses, these still images that portray a lavish, fun-filled,
all sorts of perfectness
and deep experience of life and all that stuff, and they're just, you know, they're gaslighting each other into these fucking desperate states of mind. You know what I mean? Well, really, they're scared, they're miserable, they don't know what to do about it, but they're just going to keep projecting this bullshit because they don't want to lose face. It's a lunatic asylum, mate. It's fucked up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's perpetuating itself. It's
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's it. It's people that are participating in it and perpetuating it. People need to remove their attention and start going, fuck this, let's play another game here.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, let's delete the canvas, throw it in the bin, and start over.
Exactly. Whitewash the fucking thing. Let's start again.
But you're gonna need some very tough stuff to do that.
Well, fuck it, mate. You know, don't know how it's going to happen, but all I need to know is that there's something wrong, and I can pinpoint the problems that are here right now, and that's it. Where it goes from that, I don't know. It's up to the majority, you know. So,
Yeah,
as I say,
yeah, agreed.
I can just maintain my own stability as an isolated individual, and that's where I have to keep my focus and attention, and just hope that, you know, other people start to cotton onto that. So,
Yeah, yeah. I just want to say one more thing. What do you think about the saying that human beings are not meant to be alone?
I don't know what I think of that. I mean, I've had times in my life where I've been so lonely, where I had, you know, the experience of loneliness, where it was a bad relationship to the loneliness, and then I've had the other experience of being alone and being isolated, where I found contentment and I found, you know, a sanctuary, I found joy in it. So I think it just depends on your circumstance and where you are within your own psyche at any given time. But I mean, it's great to have company. Even as a child, you naturally look for it. But children are, you know, are not looking to have pissing contests with each other. They're just looking to have a reflection of experience and somebody to experience it with. Do you know what I mean? It's healthier, and that's what I always say. Like, you know, social interactions are no centered around something objective. They're centered around focusing on each other and judging each other and having a pissing contest with each other about how many trinkets they've got, and that's the stuff I can't deal with. That's why I can't function in society the way it is right now. I have to isolate myself. So I'm always looking for, you know, like experience with other people in a objective manner, like a game of poker. It's having experience with people of a game and playing that game, and that it's no, you know, like, oh, I'm judging you or you're judging me, or there's these, you know, niggly pissing games going on of dominance and control. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, who's got the biggest dick, kind of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a question that I think, you know, can't just be answered off just like that. There's layers to it and scenarios. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, but people keep saying that to me because, well, you could class me as lonely, but the problem for me is that there are too many situations in this world that want me to be alone, because then I don't have to experience all the shitty things that I would experience if I wasn't alone. So it's a really, but at the same time, I feel that I want to experience something really good with someone else, because I know that I cannot experience what I want to experience on my own.
Exactly.
So it's a really
that's where you have to be smart, discerning, and be selective about where you're placing your attention and who you're getting involved with. You know,
exactly.
So it has to be measured properly, as far as I'm concerned. Well, that's my life experience. I have to measure where I place my attention and what scenarios and what people I'm getting myself involved in, and be aware of it. You know, and I think that's it. Don't you know, self-deceit and self-delusion is always to your detriment. So if people are entering into, you know, any participation, they have to do it with a full consciousness and be aware of the people that you're interacting with, and no delude yourself, getting in naive and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But you learn that, you know, through childhood, teenage life, social interaction. So it's aye. But listen, mate, it'd be a pleasure. Thanks for coming on. I'm going to sew this up now and get off and watch the boxing. So,
okay.
All right, my man.
All right. See you later.
Appreciate you, buddy. Take care of yourself.
Bye.
See you soon, mate. Again, I just want to touch on that. You know, people out there that maybe feel isolated. You know, I'm always here. You know, you can dial me up, send me a message. Don't send me emails and text messages and all that stuff, because I'm one of the people, I just avoid it. I can't deal with big long messages and text messages and emails, and all you need to do is just a simple message. You up for a chat? Aye, cool. If we can have a direct call, you know, a verbal discussion with each other, I'm always up for that. Can't I go fucking typies and fucking pen pals and all that stuff? It's just not my bag. So anybody can reach out, you know. As I say, let me know if anybody's up for a wee night of poker or darts or something. Let me know so I can get an idea of numbers and the possibilities of that happening. So, anywho, keep discerning, people. Again, you're the scientist. Everything's on your back. Nobody to blame. Take responsibility for yourself. Measure everything properly. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you all soon.